Hello, this is Anna Laura Brown of annalaurabrown.com, and in today's video I'd like to talk with you about a really important topic, and that is the topic of metabolic health. And I know if you're like me, you probably really had never really considered the real importance of metabolic health. You probably just thought, oh, well, metabolic means metabolism, that means weight, so if I'm overweight, it means I probably have some metabolic health issues. If I'm skinny, then I probably don't. And there's actually a lot more to metabolic health than you might think. So I want to start by asking you a question and have you think about this question for a minute. And that is, are you in ideal metabolic health? And I want you to think about, your reasonings for why you're saying yes or no. And then I'm going to share with you a statistic that I know was really, really shocking to me and may also be shocking to you as well. And that is that only 6.8% of the US adult population is in ideal metabolic health. So what does that mean? That means that more than 90% of us are not in a state of ideal metabolic health. More than 90%. Ouch. You really let that think in, that really starts to help you realize the chronic state of health that a lot of us are in, including myself, as I guarantee you that I am not part of that 6.8%, at least not right now, and I'm obviously working on changing that, getting myself closer and closer to that line. But that was really shocking to me, and it should be shocking to you too. I know that I would have originally, before hearing that statistic, I would have thought that the percentage was more like 20% or so of people that are in ideal metabolic health. Because I knew that, as a country, as the United States, that even though we spend more and more on healthcare, we're not really that healthy as a people. So I knew the number wasn't super high, but the fact that it was only 6.8% really, really shocked me. So that means we really, really have some work to do. So a couple of other things I want to talk to you about a little bit is, how do you know if you're in ideal metabolic health? And what can you do to improve it if you know that you're not? So there are a couple of signs and things that you can figure out, ways that you can figure out if you're in ideal metabolic health. So the first sign is the first one people think of, is your weight. If you are overweight or, weighing more than what the average normal weight should be for your height and age, and you're over that by more than 10 pounds, then you're not going to be in ideal metabolic health automatically. Because having extra weight is the first sign that your metabolic health is not in good condition. Now, some of the other warning signs could be if you have trouble sleeping, if you have been told by your doctor that you're pre-diabetic, or maybe you even already have diabetes, or if you have any kind of heart problems, blood issues, high cholesterol, different things like that, high blood pressure, if you're taking a lot of different medications, things like that, then you likely are not in good metabolic health. And like I said, since the number said that only 6.8% of US adults are in good metabolic health, the odds are that you're not in it more than is that you are. So these are just some of the warning signs that can indicate to you that you were probably not in good metabolic health. The other thing to think about is, the virus that's been circulating around the last couple of years. If you got it and you were really, really sick when you got it, then you probably are not in good metabolic health. Because there are actually a lot of studies starting to come out now saying that the people who got more and more severe cases of the virus, that one of the reasons behind that is because they are not in good metabolic health. So now on the opposite end, if you got it and you didn't really get very sick, then chances are that maybe you are lucky enough to be part of that 6.8%, especially if you are at what's considered to be an ideal weight. You don't have blood sugar issues, cholesterol issues, other things like that. But if you did get really, really sick with it, then you probably are not in the kind of good metabolic health that you should be in. So that's another warning sign to consider. And then the other thing you also can do is there are different tests and things that can be done to help determine how bad it is. One of the things that I did is I actually invested in what's called a Fit Track scale, and there are other scales out there, and it's not super expensive. I want to say my scale was around $30, so it was a little bit more expensive than you'd pay for just a regular scale. But this scale, when I step on it, gives me a lot of different facts about my metabolic health. So it doesn't just give me a weight number. It gives me things like how many pounds I should lose to be at my ideal weight. Things like what my body fat percentage is, what my body water percentage is, what my protein intake and percentages are. Things like, and it actually even tells me what my metabolic age is as well. So if your metabolic age doesn't match your actual physical age, when you step onto a scale like that, or, if you do other tests and determine that it doesn't match, then that's also another sign. So for example, I'm 45 years old, but the scale says that I'm 52 when it comes to metabolic health. So, they're saying I'm 7 years older, so that's a sign that I definitely have some metabolic issues there. So, that can be probably one of the easier ways to figure out what all your numbers are, is to invest in some kind of a scale like that. I will include the information on that scale in the link in the comments with this video so that you can find that. Okay, so let's assume that you're in a situation where, your metabolic health isn't ideal, you're not part of that 6.8%, and you want to improve it. What can you do? Well, there are a couple of different things you can do. So one thing, easier said than done, is to, release or get rid of the weight. But in order to make that happen, what can you do? Well, the first thing that you can do that you've probably been hearing a lot about, and this is something that I've been doing lately, and there's more and more research coming out talking about the importance of it and how it can help with your blood sugar levels and metabolism and other things, is to start doing intermittent fasting. Now, I don't know about you, but some of the people that I've heard talk about intermittent fasting are saying, that they're doing really short eating windows, like only 4 to 6 hours. So they're fasting for, 18 to 20 hours a day. And if you ask me, that could be really hard to do. Personally, I know that that's just too much for me. I can't do that. So, I'm not fasting for that long a time frame. What I personally do is I try to only eat between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. So that still gives me 14 hours from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. when I'm not eating anything. And sometimes I can't always stick 100% strictly to that because I may not, for whatever reason, get dinner eaten by 6 p.m. And then in that case, I usually try to wait till 8:30 or 9 a.m. before I eat my breakfast. And I find that this is really doable for me, and I'm sure it can be really doable for a lot of other people. Eventually, depending on how the weight loss and the metabolism goes with some other things that I have going on, as I've been doing this intermittent fasting now for a few months, I may try to delay breakfast till 9 or 10 p.m. or try to get dinner eaten by 5 p.m. in order to try to narrow, increase the window of fasting and narrow the eating, if you will, window by an hour or two. But for now, that's what I'm doing. It definitely seems to be working for me, as I have lost almost 20 pounds since the first part of this year, since January, and I'm recording this in October. So, definitely seems to be on the upswing for me. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing that you can do, of course, is healthy eating, and not just healthy eating, but to measure your food amount. So taking measuring cups and doing things like measuring any grains or anything that you eat to make sure that you're only eating 1 cup, weighing or measuring the amounts of meat and vegetables and things. In other words, really paying attention not just to healthy eating, but to how much food you consume, in order to make sure that you're not overeating, that kind of thing. And, that you have really good, healthy, balanced meals, that you don't eat too many carbs, you don't eat too much fat, sugar, that kind of thing. Just a lot of the things that we all know, but that can sometimes, be things that maybe we hadn't thought about before. Okay, so then the third thing you can do, of course, is daily exercise. And, this isn't new news to you. And I found a couple of tips to help me exercise better. So one thing is I invested in a Nintendo Switch. And that may sound like kind of a weird thing to have done in order to get, exercise moving, that kind of thing. But it really, really helped, and has helped to encourage me to do a lot of the active dancing and moving, things like that. It's a lot more fun having the Let's Dance, I think it's called, or something, whatever, dance, Nintendo Switch game that you can use to exercise. I also have the Fit Ring from Nintendo, and there's just other home fitness things that go with the Nintendo Switch, so it's not just about sitting around on your bum playing games all day. So that's one idea. Of course, you can get a gym membership, you can go swimming. That's what I do a lot, do swimming a lot, especially since I have a lot of knee issues. That's just, been something that I've really had to focus on, and has really helped with the weight at the same time. And also using some sort of a fitness tracker as well. Like, personally, I have this Aura Ring, which I did a whole podcast episode on it that I can link below so you can learn more about what it is. And, or a Fitbit, Apple Watch, whatever, and then set a goal to reach a minimum number of steps per day. Personally, for me, it's 6,000 per day, and then I strive to have 2 days per week when I do at least 8,000. I'm getting ready to probably attempt to up that. We're going to try to have more like 4 days a week at 8,000 and maybe even 2 days a week at 10,000. But we'll see how that goes. Some of, like the knee issues I've been having have made that a little bit tough, but, I'm ready to maybe step up my game a little bit here. And then last but not least, also the right supplementation. Now, you've probably heard and are probably aware of that the food that we eat today just isn't like the food our ancestors ate. Even if you're really, really careful, you only eat fruits and vegetables, you eat all organic, that kind of thing, you're still probably not getting all of the good supplements, minerals, nutrients that you need, and so you need some help. And I can definitely help you with some recommendations here. I'm not going to go into a lot of that here, but you definitely, need to have some different kinds of supplementation, things like collagen and multivitamin, fish oil, possibly even an additional supplement for energy, and possibly even, personally, I like to use some different essential oils and things to help stave the craving and help assist with my metabolism and weight. And I have some additional videos and resources on those that I can send to you if you're interested. I can link some resources below. But anyhow, these are just some of the things. So hopefully you found this helpful to learn how to have better metabolic health. As I said, this is something I'm really working on, and a lot of us really need the help and improvement in that area. And so take care, and if you need help, reach out and let me know.